Stranded among stars. The emergency lights bathed the damaged research vessel in an eerie crimson glow. Dr. Talia Reeves clutched the edge of her navigation console, her knuckles white as she tried to process what had just happened. One moment she'd been conducting routine stellar measurements near the edge of the Andromeda cluster, and the next, chaos. System status, she commanded, her voice steadier than she felt. Life support at 62% and declining, the ship's AI responded in its unnervingly calm voice. Hull integrity compromised in sectors 3 through 7. Communication array offline, propulsion systems offline. Estimated time until complete system failure, 8 hours 17 minutes. Talia brushed a lock of sweat-dampened hair from her forehead. 8 hours. Not even enough time for a rescue ship to reach her, even if her distress signal could penetrate the strange radiation field surrounding her vessel. She was alone 37 light-years from the nearest outpost, with a failing ship and dwindling oxygen. Perfect, she muttered, pushing herself to her feet and wincing at the pain that shot through her left side. Probably a cracked rib from when the gravitational wave had hit them. Display damaged schematics, she commanded, and the holoscreen flickered to life, revealing a three-dimensional diagram of her ship, the quantum horizon. Red indicators blinked across the image like angry stars. She needed to reach the auxiliary power core. If she could reroute the energy through the secondary systems, she might buy herself enough time to repair the communication array. The corridor outside the bridge was dark, illuminated only by the sporadic flash of emergency lights. Talia moved carefully, one hand pressed against the wall to steady herself as the artificial gravity fluctuated. The ship creaked and groaned around her, a wounded animal dying in the void. As she approached the engineering section, Talia froze. There was something ahead, a shimmer in the air like heat rising from sun-baked asphalt, but here in the cold of space. The shimmer intensified, coalescing into a form that both terrified and captivated her. It was vaguely humanoid but taller, perhaps 7 feet in height, with limbs that seemed too long and too graceful. Its skin, if it could be called skin, shifted like quicksilver, reflecting the emergency lights in hypnotic patterns. Who? Talia's voice caught in her throat. What are you? The being tilted what appeared to be its head, studying her with eyes that resembled twin galaxies, swirling pools of silver and blue light. I am Nyx, the creature said, its voice resonating not in the air but directly in Talia's mind, a symphony of whispers that made her shiver. Your vessel disrupted my journey. Talia's scientific mind raced through possibilities. An unknown species, a cosmic entity, some kind of space-dwelling organism. Are you responsible for my ship's condition? She asked, trying to keep her fear from showing. The being's form undulated slightly. No, we were both caught in the temporal fold. Your technology suffered. I adapted. Talia took a cautious step forward. I need to repair my ship or I'll die here. Nyx moved closer, its form becoming more defined, more distinctly female in shape. Death, an interesting concept. The being reached out with a hand that seemed composed of liquid starlight. May I? Talia hesitated, then nodded. She had few options left. When Nyx's hand touched her shoulder, Talia gasped. It wasn't pain, far from it. It was like being connected to something vast and ancient, a rush of sensation that made her nerve endings sing. Images flooded her mind, stars being born, galaxies spiraling, the dance of cosmic dust forming into planets. She felt Nyx exploring her consciousness with gentle curiosity. Your species is fascinating, Nyx communicated. So briefly a light in the cosmos, yet burning with such intensity. Talia struggled to find her voice. Can you help me? The connection broke as Nyx withdrew her touch. Yes, your technology is primitive but elegant. I understand its patterns now. Nyx glided toward the engineering section, her form illuminating the dark corridor. Talia followed, her scientific curiosity momentarily overshadowing her fear. Inside the engineering bay, Nyx moved with purpose, her silver appendages extending and shifting to interact with the ship's systems. Panels that had been dark flickered to life under her touch. Your power source is inefficient, Nyx communicated, her mental voice tinged with what Talia could only interpret as amusement. It requires realignment. Talia watched in amazement as damaged components began to repair themselves under Nyx's manipulation. The being seemed to understand the ship's systems intuitively, working with a speed and precision that would have taken Talia days to accomplish. Who are you really? Talia asked, unable to contain her curiosity. Where do you come from? Nyx paused in her work, her form shimmering more intensely. I am a luminar. We traverse the spaces between realities. Your kind would call us travelers or explorers, though these terms are insufficient. And you can just fix technology you've never seen before. I see patterns where you see components, Nyx explained. Energy flows, connections, possibilities. Your technology follows logical principles, even if those principles are limited by your understanding of the universe. The lights in the engineering bay suddenly brightened, and the hum of the power core stabilizing filled the room. Primary systems restored to 78% functionality, the ship's AI announced. Life support stabilized, communication array remains offline. Nyx turned to Talia, her form now clearly feminine but still ethereal, like a woman sculpted from moonlight and stardust. Your immediate survival is ensured. Now we must address communication. Thank you, Talia said, genuinely moved by the being's help. But why are you doing this? Nyx was silent for a moment, her galactic eyes studying Talia with an intensity that made the human feel exposed, as if the being could see through her physical form to something deeper. Curiosity, Nyx finally answered. You are unlike any being I have encountered in my travels, your mind. It resonates with an unusual harmony. I wish to understand it further. Something in the way Nyx said this made Talia's heart beat faster. There was an undercurrent to the being's mental voice, something that felt almost like longing. I'm just a scientist, Talia said, suddenly self-conscious. An astrophysicist specializing in quantum gravitational phenomena. You are far more than your occupation, Nyx replied, moving closer. You contain multitudes, memories, desires, fears, dreams, a universe within a mortal form. The being reached out again, this time her silvery hand hovering just inches from Talia's face. May I connect with you again? It will help me understand how to better assist you. Talia hesitated, remembering the overwhelming sensation of their first contact. But she also recalled the exhilaration, the glimpse of something greater than herself. Oh yes, she whispered. This time when Nyx's hand touched her cheek, the connection was gentler but deeper. Talia felt the being's consciousness entwining with hers, a dance of thoughts and perceptions. She saw flashes of Nyx's existence, the cold beauty of drifting between stars, the vibrant colors of nebulae that human eyes could never perceive, the lonely magnificence of cosmic observation. And she felt something unexpected, Nyx's fascination with her. The being found humans, particularly Talia, captivating in ways that defied explanation. When the connection broke, Talia was breathing heavily, her skin flushed. Nyx had withdrawn slightly, her form pulsating with rapid flickers of light. Your emotional responses are intense, Nyx observed. Is this discomfort? Talia shook her head. No, not discomfort, it's just overwhelming, but in a good way. She struggled to find words to explain the complexity of her reaction. When you connected with me, what did you feel? Nyx's form shifted, patterns of light rippling across her surface like thoughts made visible. I felt warmth, your consciousness radiates it. My kind does not experience emotions as you do, but in your presence I am different. The ship suddenly trembled, breaking the moment. Warning, the AI announced. Gravitational anomaly detected, temporal disturbance increasing in Sector 9. Talia rushed to the nearest console, checking the readings. It's the same type of disturbance that damaged the ship initially. It's growing stronger. Nyx moved to her side, studying the data. The fold is expanding. This region of space is becoming unstable. Can we escape it? Talia asked. Not without full propulsion, Nyx replied. And even then, the fold might envelop this entire sector before we could reach safe distance. Talia's mind raced through possibilities. Could we counteract it somehow, generate an opposing field? Nyx's form brightened, and Talia sensed approval in their mental connection. Yes, your quantum resonator could be modified to create a stabilizing field, but it would require precise calibration beyond your technology's normal parameters. Show me, Talia said, determination replacing fear. As they worked together, human and cosmic entities side by side, Talia became increasingly aware of a growing connection between them. Every time their hands touched, Talia's flesh and blood fingers alongside Nyx's shimmering appendages, a spark of energy passed between them. Hours passed as they modified the ship's quantum resonator. Talia applying her scientific knowledge while Nyx contributed insights from a perspective that spanned dimensions. The work was intricate and demanding, but Talia found herself energized by Nyx's presence. "It's ready," Talia finally announced, stepping back from the modified device. It hummed with power, emitting a soft blue glow. "Activation will require simultaneous input from both of us," Nyx explained. "My energy must flow through you to properly calibrate the field." Talia nodded, positioning herself at the control panel. "What do I need to do?" "Place your hands here," Nyx guided, indicating 2 contact points on the device. "I will form a circuit through you. It may be intense." "I'm ready," Talia said, though her racing pulse suggested otherwise. As she placed her hands on the device, Nyx moved behind her, the being's luminous form enveloping her like a cloak of living starlight. Talia gasped as Nyx's energy flowed through her body, a current of power unlike anything she had ever experienced. The quantum resonator activated, projecting a field that spread throughout the ship and beyond, counteracting the temporal disturbance. But Talia barely noticed the technical success. Her entire being was focused on the sensation of Nyx's energy merging with hers, a union that transcended the physical. When it was over, and the ship's AI confirmed the stabilization of the surrounding space, Talia found herself reluctant to break contact with the cosmic being. "That was," she began, but words failed her. "Yes," Nyx agreed, her mental voice resonating with new depth. "I have traveled countless light years and witnessed the birth and death of stars, but I have never experienced a connection like this." Talia turned to face the being, their bodies still close. In Nyx's swirling, galaxy-like eyes, she saw something that mirrored her own growing feelings, a curiosity that had evolved into something more profound. "What happens now?" Talia asked softly. Nyx's form shimmered, reaching out to gently trace the contour of Talia's face. "Now we truly begin to understand each other." The quantum horizon drifted in stabilized space, a tiny sanctuary in the vast cosmic ocean, as human and Luminar stood at the threshold of discovery, not just of each other's worlds, but of possibilities neither had imagined before their paths crossed among the stars. Touch of the unknown. The soft hum of the stabilized ship systems created a peaceful backdrop as Talia worked at the main control panel. 3 days had passed since her encounter with Nyx, and though the immediate danger had subsided, they were still far from any rescue. The communication array remained their priority. Without it, Talia would become just another lost scientist, presumed dead in the vastness of space. Nyx floated nearby, her luminous form casting gentle shadows across the bridge. Over the past days, the alien entity had been gradually adopting a more consistently humanoid appearance, still unmistakably otherworldly with her silvery, light-infused skin and galaxies for eyes, but with features that Talia found increasingly beautiful. "Your mind is distracted," Nyx observed, her mental voice carrying that unique resonance that Talia had come to find comforting. Talia sighed, pushing away from the console. "Am I that transparent?" "To me, yes." A ripple of amusement passed through Nyx's form. "Your thoughts create patterns of neural energy that I can perceive. They've been turbulent." Talia hadn't quite adjusted to the idea that Nyx could sense her mental state, though the Luminar had assured her she couldn't read specific thoughts without direct contact. "I'm worried about the communications array," Talia said, which was true enough. "Without it, I could be stranded here for months before anyone thinks to search this sector." Nyx drifted closer, her form leaving trails of stardust in the air. "We've made progress. The quantum oscillator is aligned and the transmission matrix is nearly repaired." "Yes," but Talia paused, distracted by Nyx's proximity. Each time the being came near, Talia felt that strange, pleasant hum in her body as if her atoms were responding to Nyx's presence. "But even if we get a message out, it could be weeks before rescue arrives." Nyx tilted her head, an endearingly human gesture she seemed to have adopted from observing Talia. "Does my company displease you?" "No," the answer came too quickly, too forcefully, and Talia felt heat rise to her cheeks. "No, that's not it at all. I have responsibilities, research to complete." "I see," Nyx's form dimmed slightly. "Your existence is governed by obligations and schedules. Mine has been defined by observation and journey." She moved toward the viewport, gazing out at the stars. "Perhaps that is why I find your urgency both fascinating and perplexing." Talia joined her at the viewport, careful to maintain a small distance. Even that simple proximity made her skin tingle with awareness. "What is it like?" she asked. living as you do, traveling between realities. Nyx was silent for a moment, her form shifting through subtle patterns of light that Talia had begun to recognize as emotional expressions. Vast, Nyx finally answered, and often solitary. The luminars are few and we rarely encounter others like ourselves. We observe, we learn, we exist in the currents of cosmic energy. She turned toward Talia, her galactic eyes seeming to search the human's face. Until now, I never questioned whether something might be missing from this existence. The implication hung in the air between them, charged with possibility. Talia felt her heart rate increase, a physiological response that she knew Nyx could perceive. "And now?" she asked softly. Before Nyx could answer, the ship trembled slightly and the lights flickered. The moment broken, they both moved swiftly to the control panels. "Power fluctuation in the auxiliary systems," Talia reported, scanning the diagnostics. "The quantum field stability is decreasing," Nyx added, her appendages interfacing directly with the ship's sensors. "We must reinforce it before the temporal fold returns." They worked side by side for hours, making adjustments to the systems they had modified. It was intricate work that required both Talia's technical knowledge and Nyx's unique perception of energy patterns. As they worked, their hands occasionally brushed against each other, and each contact sent electric currents coursing through Talia's body. During a particularly delicate calibration, Talia's fingers slipped, and she cut her hand on an exposed circuit edge. She hissed in pain, pulling back. "You're injured," Nyx said, immediately shifting closer. Without asking permission, she took Talia's hand in her luminous appendage. Talia gasped, not from pain but from the sensation of Nyx's touch. It was like being immersed in warm starlight, a pleasant tingling that spread from her hand up her arm and throughout her body. "I can accelerate your cellular regeneration," Nyx explained, her voice a gentle caress in Talia's mind. "May I?" Unable to speak, Talia nodded. Nyx's form seemed to flow around Talia's injured hand, encasing it in living light. The connection between them deepened, and Talia could feel Nyx's consciousness brushing against hers, more intimate than their previous links had been. Images flashed through Talia's mind, not memories this time, but emotions given form. She saw herself through Nyx's perception, a brilliant flame of life energy, complex and beautiful in ways she had never considered herself to be. She felt Nyx's fascination, her growing attachment, her desire. The realization sent a shock through Talia's system. Could an entity like Nyx experience desire? And if so, what would that even mean between beings so fundamentally different? When Nyx finally withdrew, Talia's hand was completely healed, not even a scar remaining. But something had changed between them. The air seemed charged with unspoken possibilities. "Thank you," Talia whispered, her voice unsteady. "Your pain distressed me," Nyx admitted, her form fluctuating with what Talia now recognized as emotional intensity. "I find myself experiencing reactions that are unfamiliar to my kind." Talia swallowed hard. "What kind of reactions?" Nyx moved closer again, her form glowing more brightly. "A need to be near you, to understand you beyond mere observation, to experience you." Her galactic eyes fixed on Talia's with an intensity that made breathing difficult. "Is this what your species calls attraction?" The directness of the question caught Talia off guard. She was a scientist, used to analyzing and categorizing her experiences, but this, whatever was developing between her and Nyx, defied rational explanation. "I think it might be," she admitted, "though I've never been attracted to someone like you before." "Nor I to someone like you," Nyx replied. "My kind does not form attachments as humans do. We exist primarily as solitary observers, and yet," her form shimmered, reaching out tentatively toward Talia's face without quite touching her, "I find myself drawn to you in ways I cannot fully comprehend." Talia's heart pounded against her ribs. Part of her, the rational, scientific part, warned that this was uncharted territory, potentially dangerous. But another part, something more primal and intuitive, urged her forward. "What would happen," she asked hesitantly, "if we explored this attraction?" Nyx's form brightened visibly. "I do not know, this is beyond my experience." There was a pause, and when her mental voice returned, it carried an undertone that Talia could only describe as yearning. "But I wish to discover it with you." Slowly, deliberately, Talia reached out and placed her palm against what approximated Nyx's cheek. The contact was electric, sending pleasant shocks through her nervous system. Nyx's form seemed to lean into the touch, her silvery substance becoming more solid, more defined. Can you feel that? Talia whispered. Yes, Nyx replied, her mental voice trembling with intensity. Your energy signature. It resonates with mine in a way I have never encountered before. Emboldened, Talia moved closer. And if I were to, she hesitated, then leaned forward, pressing her lips gently against what seemed to be Nyx's mouth. The sensation was unlike any kiss Talia had ever experienced. It was as if she had touched her lips to a concentrated point of pure energy. Pleasure radiated through her body in waves, and her mind filled with dazzling patterns of light. She could feel Nyx's surprise, then curiosity, then something like ecstasy as the being responded to the kiss. When they finally separated, Talia was breathless, her body humming with energy. Nyx's form was pulsating rapidly, bright flares of light erupting across her surface. Extraordinary, is this how humans express attraction? Talia laughed softly, feeling lightheaded. It's one way, yes. There are others, Nyx asked, curiosity evident in her tone. The question sent a thrill of anticipation through Talia. Many others, she confirmed, if you'd like to learn them. I would, Nyx said simply, moving closer again. Teach me, Talia. What followed was a discovery of sensation and connection that transcended physical boundaries. Nyx's form became more adaptable, responding to Talia's touch by creating points of pleasurable contact. Where their energies merged, Talia experienced sensations beyond anything she had known before, as if every nerve ending in her body was being stimulated simultaneously. For Nyx, the experience seemed equally profound. Her form flickered with pulses of intense light, and her mental presence in Talia's mind conveyed wonder, pleasure, and a growing emotional attachment that neither of them had anticipated. Hours later, they lay together in Talia's quarters, Nyx's luminous form draped around Talia like a living blanket of starlight. The human scientist stared up at the ceiling, trying to process what had happened between them. It had been beautiful, transcendent, and completely unexpected. Your thoughts are active again, Nyx observed, her mental voice soft with affection. Talia smiled, turning her head to gaze at the cosmic being beside her. I'm trying to understand what this means, what we just shared. It shouldn't technically be possible between such different life forms. Perhaps that is why it is so meaningful, Nyx suggested. We have discovered something rare, a connection that bridges the gap between our species. But what happens when the communication array is repaired? Talia asked, voicing the concern that had been growing in her mind. When rescue comes, you said you were on a journey when we encountered each other. Don't you need to continue it? Nyx's form dimmed slightly, and Talia felt a wave of sadness emanate from the being. Yes, my journey has purpose beyond my own desires. I am a pathfinder among my kind, sent to chart routes between realities to discover new planes of existence. So you'll leave, Talia said, trying to keep the disappointment from her voice. Eventually I must, Nyx admitted. But not yet, not until I understand fully what has begun between us. The ship's AI interrupted their moment. Diagnostic complete, communication array repair protocols ready for implementation. Estimated completion time 6 hours. Reality crashed back into their intimate bubble. Soon, Talia would be able to contact Earth Science Authority and a rescue ship would be dispatched. Their time together had a finite limit. We should complete the repairs, Talia said reluctantly, sitting up. Whatever time we have left, I don't want to spend it stranded in space. Nyx's form rippled with what Talia now recognized as agreement. Yes, and perhaps when your people come, we can find a way to continue what we have discovered. Talia wanted to believe it was possible, but doubt nagged at her. Human-alien relations were strictly regulated after the Proxima incident, and a being as powerful and unknown as Nyx would likely be seen as a potential threat rather than a marvel to be welcomed. As if sensing her concerns, Nyx reached out, her luminous appendage caressing Talia's face. Do not fear the future yet. We exist in this moment and it is precious. Talia leaned into the touch, allowing herself to be comforted. You're right, let's focus on the repairs and then we'll figure out the rest. They returned to the bridge, working side by side to implement the repair protocols for the communication array. The work was easier now, their movements synchronized, their energies aligned. Even the most complex tasks seemed to flow naturally as they anticipated each other's needs without speaking. As the final calibrations were completed, Talia stood before the communications console, her finger hovering over the activation switch. Once pressed, the signal would begin broadcasting their location to any Earth Science Authority vessels within range. She hesitated, looking at Nyx, who hovered nearby, her form glowing softly in the dim light of the bridge. "Are you certain?" Nyx asked gently. Talia nodded, though her heart was conflicted. "I have to go home eventually, my work, my colleagues, they think I'm dead by now." "Then activate it," Nyx encouraged, "and we will face together whatever comes next." Talia pressed the switch. The communication array hummed to life, sending their distress signal out into the cosmos. Help would come, perhaps within days. Their time of isolation, of intimate discovery, was coming to an end. But as Nyx moved beside her, their energies merging once again in a touch that sent pleasure cascading through Talia's body, she knew that something profound and undeniable had been awakened between them. Something that neither the vast distances of space nor the differences in their very nature could easily extinguish. The stars beyond the viewport seemed to shimmer in response to their connection, as if the universe itself was acknowledging the rarity of what they had found among the infinite possibilities of cosmic existence. Hunters in the void. The communication array pulsed with a steady rhythm, sending Talia's distress signal across the void. According to the ship's calculations, the nearest Earth Science Authority outpost should receive it within 12 hours. Then, depending on available vessels, rescue could arrive in as little as 2 days. 2 days, the countdown to separation had begun. Talia found herself torn between relief and regret as she monitored the signal strength from the bridge. Behind her, Nyx hovered near the viewport, her luminous form reflecting the distant starlight. "Your signal is being received," Nyx announced suddenly, turning toward Talia. "I can sense the response patterns in the subspace frequencies." Talia checked her instruments, confused. "There's nothing on the receivers yet." "Your technology is limited," Nyx explained, moving closer. "I perceive energies beyond your instrument's capabilities." The ship's AI chimed in. "Incoming transmission detected, origin unidentified vessel." Talia's heart leapt. Could rescue already be responding? She hadn't expected any vessels to be so close to their position. "On screen," she commanded. The main viewscreen flickered to life, revealing a face that made Talia's blood run cold. The figure staring back at her wasn't human, nor was it the friendly visage of an Earth Science Authority officer. The being had ashen gray skin stretched taut over a skeletal face, with eyes like black pits and a mouth full of needle-like teeth. "Well, well," the creature hissed, its voice grating like metal on stone. "What have we here? A human vessel so far from protected space. How fortunate for us." Nyx moved swiftly to Talia's side, her form brightening defensively. "Scavengers," she communicated privately to Talia. "Void reavers, they prey on stranded vessels." Talia's mouth went dry. She'd heard stories of the Void Reavers, pirates who operated in the boundary regions between chartered space and the wild frontier. They were known for leaving no survivors. "We're a research vessel," Talia said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "We have nothing of value to you." The Reaver's lipless mouth stretched into a grotesque approximation of a smile. "Oh, I disagree. Human biological components fetch a high price in certain markets, and your ship's quantum technologies will sell well after we strip them out." Talia felt sick. The creature was talking about harvesting her organs. "And what," the Reaver continued, his black eyes narrowing as he peered through the screen, "is that magnificent specimen beside you? I've never seen anything quite like it." His tongue, long and gray, flicked out to moisten his lips. The collectors would pay a fortune for such an entity. Nyx's form pulsed with what Talia now recognized as anger. "End the transmission," the Luminar communicated to her privately. "They are already locking onto our position." Talia cut the feed, turning to Nyx with panic rising in her chest. "What do we do? The ship's weapons systems are minimal, they're meant for clearing micrometeoroids, not fighting off pirates." "We must prepare to defend ourselves," Nyx replied, her mental voice calm despite the situation. "The Reavers are dangerous, but they are not invincible." "Proximity alert," the ship's AI announced. "Unidentified vessel approaching at high velocity. Estimated intercept 8 minutes." Talia's scientific mind quickly calculated their options, none of which seemed promising. "Could we outrun them? The engines are partially repaired." Nyx's form shifted in what Talia had come to recognize as a negative response. "Their vessel is designed for pursuit. We would be caught before reaching safe space." "Then we fight," Talia decided, moving to the weapons console. I'll try to reconfigure the particle beams to increase their power. Maybe we can at least damage their engines enough to escape. As Talia worked frantically at the console, Nyx moved to the center of the bridge, her form expanding slightly. I can create a defensive field around the ship, she said, but it will require significant energy. Take whatever you need from the non-essential systems, Talia told her, not looking up from her work. I need more than mechanical energy, Nyx clarified, her voice softening. I need yours. Talia's hands paused over the controls. Mine. Your life force, your bioelectrical field, it resonates at a frequency that can amplify my abilities, Nyx explained. Through our connection, I can channel it into a defensive barrier. Talia remembered the intense energy she had felt when they had touched, the merging of their essences. Will it hurt? No, Nyx assured her, but it will be intimate more so than before. Despite the dire circumstances, Talia felt a flutter of anticipation. Tell me what to do. Come to me, Nyx said simply. Talia abandoned the weapons console and approached the luminous being. As she drew near, Nyx's form seemed to open, creating a space that Talia instinctively understood she was meant to enter. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward into Nyx's embrace. The sensation was immediate and overwhelming. It was as if she had stepped into pure energy, warm, enveloping, pulsating with life. She could feel Nyx all around her, within her, their consciousness merging in a way that went beyond physical or even mental connection. It was a union of essences. Oh, Talia gasped as waves of pleasure washed through her body. Every nerve ending tingled with intensity, every cell seemed alive with new awareness. She could perceive the ship around them, the approaching threat, the very fabric of space itself, all through Nyx's expanded consciousness. Yes, Nyx's voice resonated within her. Feel the connection, feel our energies merging. This is the source of our strength. Talia surrendered to the sensation, allowing her energy to flow freely into Nyx. Their combined consciousness expanded outward, enveloping the quantum horizon in a shimmering barrier of light that pulsed with their shared life force. Vessel approaching, the AI announced, its voice seeming distant through the haze of their connection. Weapons systems detecting targeting lock. Through their merged perception, Talia and Nyx observed the Reaver ship, a jagged, dark construction that resembled a skeletal hand reaching through space. Energy beams lanced out from its fingertip-like projections, striking their defensive barrier with vicious intensity. Talia felt each impact as if it were striking her own body, but the pain was transmuted through their connection into something else. A fierce determination, a protective fury. She could feel Nyx channeling their combined energies to reinforce the shield where it was weakest. They're preparing to board, Nyx communicated. We must repel them physically. The Reaver ship extended docking tubes that looked like segmented tentacles, latching onto the quantum horizon's hull with metallic claws. Through their connection, Talia could sense the boarding party moving through the tubes, 6 Reavers, armed with neural disruptors and harvest blades. I'm not a fighter, Talia thought desperately, fear beginning to pierce through the euphoria of their connection. You don't need to be, Nyx responded, her mental voice fierce with protective intent. We are one now, my strength is yours. Talia felt a surge of power flowing through her limbs as Nyx's energy merged more deeply with her physical form. Her perception heightened, her reflexes enhanced by the Luminar's ancient knowledge of movement and energy. Breach detected in Cargo Bay 3, the AI reported. Intruders aboard. Reluctantly, Nyx began to withdraw her energetic embrace, though she maintained their mental connection. As her luminous form separated from Talia's body, the human woman felt a momentary sense of loss, quickly replaced by a new awareness of her transformed state. Her skin seemed to glow faintly, and she could perceive energy patterns around her that had been invisible before. We must confront them, Nyx said, her form now more solid and defined than Talia had ever seen it, almost like living armor radiating with power. Together. They moved through the ship's corridors with preternatural speed, Talia keeping pace with Nyx in a way that would have been impossible before their merging. Through their shared consciousness, they could sense the Reavers' positions, their malevolent intent, their hunger for the bounty they believed they had found. The first Reaver they encountered was moving alone, its spindly form hunched as it examined the ship's systems with a scanning device. It turned at their approach, black eyes widening at the sight of Nyx's radiant form and Talia's glowing presence beside her. Before the creature could raise its weapon, Nyx extended a luminous appendage that struck with the force of a lightning bolt. The Reaver was thrown backward, its neural disruptor clattering uselessly to the floor. Talia felt a surge of exhilaration at their power, but also a twinge of concern. Are we killing them? No, Nyx assured her. I am disrupting their neural pathways temporarily. They will recover, but not until we are safely away. Two more Reavers appeared from an adjoining corridor, their harvest blades raised and humming with cruel energy. One lunged at Talia, but her enhanced reflexes allowed her to sidestep the attack with graceful ease. Acting on instinct, or perhaps guided by Nyx's influence, she placed her palm against the Reaver's chest and felt energy surge from her body into the creature. The Reaver convulsed, its blade dropping from nerveless fingers as it collapsed to the deck. Talia stared at her hand in amazement. Did I just... Yes, Nyx confirmed, as she dispatched the second attacker with a pulse of energy. Our connection has allowed you to channel cosmic energy through your physical form, a temporary ability but effective. They continued through the ship, confronting and neutralizing the remaining Reavers with a synchronicity that felt like a beautiful, deadly dance. Their minds were so perfectly aligned that they anticipated each other's movements, complementing and supporting without the need for words. The last two Reavers they found in the engine room, attempting to disable the propulsion systems. These were larger than the others, with augmented exoskeletons that enhanced their already formidable strength. Be cautious, Nyx warned as they approached. These are elite harvesters. The Reavers turned as one, their black eyes narrowing at the sight of the glowing pair. Without hesitation, they activated their neural disruptors, firing crackling beams of energy designed to paralyze their target's nervous systems. Nyx moved with impossible speed, interposing her form between the beams and Talia. The energy struck her luminous body and was absorbed, causing her to flare brightly like a miniature sun. For a moment, Talia feared that the attack had harmed her companion, but then she felt, through their connection, something unexpected: pleasure. Nyx was converting the harmful energy into something that nourished her. Taking advantage of the Reaver's surprise, Talia and Nyx advanced in perfect unison. The elite harvesters fought with brutal efficiency, their augmented limbs moving with lethal precision. But they were outmatched by the cosmic dance of human and luminar. Talia dodged a sweeping blade, feeling as if time itself had slowed around her. She could see the energy patterns of the Reaver's movement, could predict its next strike before it happened. With a graceful pivot, she placed herself in position for Nyx to deliver a stunning energy pulse that sent the creature crashing into its companion. Before the Reavers could recover, Nyx expanded her form, enveloping both creatures in a cocoon of light. They struggled briefly, then went still as Nyx's energy rendered them unconscious. The ship is secure, Nyx announced, her form pulsating with the exertion of battle. But they will send reinforcements when these do not return. Talia nodded, her own body humming with residual energy from their connection. Then we need to disable their ship and get out of here. They returned to the bridge, where Talia accessed the weapon's controls with newfound confidence. Through their lingering connection, Nyx guided her hands as she reconfigured the particle beams to target the Reaver vessel's propulsion systems. Fire, Nyx instructed when the targeting was complete. Talia activated the weapons. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out from the quantum horizon, striking the Reaver ship's engines with pinpoint accuracy. The dark vessel shuddered, its lights flickering as systems failed. Their primary power grid is destabilizing, Nyx observed through their shared perception. They cannot pursue us now. Talia didn't wait for further confirmation. She engaged the ship's engines, setting a course away from the disabled Reaver vessel. The quantum horizon responded eagerly, as if it too felt the urgency of their escape. As they accelerated to safe distance, Talia felt the enhanced connection with Nyx beginning to fade. The luminous being beside her was withdrawing slightly, allowing their merged consciousness to separate into distinct individuals once more. Wait, Talia said, reaching out to touch Nyx's shimmering form. Don't go yet, that was incredible. Nyx's form rippled in what Talia now recognized as affection. The merging is taxing for your physical form, you need time to recover. Talia realized that Nyx was right. Now that the immediate danger had passed and the adrenaline was subsiding, she felt a bone-deep exhaustion seeping through her. But there was something else too, a lingering euphoria, a sense of wholeness that she had never experienced before. Will we be able to do that again? She asked, unable to keep the eagerness from her voice. Yes, Nyx replied, a hint of amusement in her mental tone. But perhaps under less dire circumstances next time. Talia laughed, the sound breaking the tension that had gripped her since the Reaver's appearance. I'd like that. As she set the ship's autopilot to continue their journey through safe space, Talia couldn't help reflecting on what had just happened. In the midst of danger, she and Nyx had achieved a level of connection that transcended physical boundaries. They had fought as one being, their energies perfectly synchronized. It was beautiful, it was terrifying, it was addictive. And somewhere in the back of her mind, a small voice whispered a warning. What would happen when she returned to Earth? Would she ever experience such perfect union again? Or would the authorities separate them, lock Nyx away for study, destroy the miraculous bond they had formed? As if sensing her thoughts, Nyx moved closer, her form enveloping Talia in a gentle embrace of light. Do not fear what is yet to come, she communicated. This connection between us, it is rare and precious. The universe does not allow such bonds to be broken easily. Talia leaned into the embrace, allowing Nyx's warmth to soothe her concerns. I hope you're right, she whispered. But as the quantum horizon continued its journey through the star-flecked void, Talia couldn't entirely silence her doubts. The Earth Science Authority was notoriously cautious about alien contact, and Nyx, beautiful, powerful, mysterious Nyx, would represent exactly the kind of unknown variable they feared most. The Reaver attack had shown her just how extraordinary their bond could be, but it had also revealed a complication she hadn't anticipated. She was falling in love with a being from beyond the stars. And love, as humans had known throughout history, could be both the greatest strength and the most dangerous vulnerability. As if reading her emotional state, Nyx's form shimmered more intensely around her. Rest now, the Luminar suggested gently. We are safe for the moment, and when you wake, we will plan our next steps together. Exhaustion overcame Talia's concerns, and she allowed Nyx to guide her back to her quarters. As she drifted into sleep, cradled in the gentle light of her cosmic companion, her last conscious thought was a determination that somehow, someway, she would find a path for them to remain together, no matter what obstacles the universe placed in their way.